Music Production.
What's poppin'? We're gonna go over Shopify here. Now I'm looking at the Canadian chart for anybody who's wondering about that. There is also an American chart, an American ticker, but right now, because I'm Canadian, I'm going to be looking at the Canadian chart here. So again, massive pullback. This is like similar stock chart to SQ, to be honest. But again, huge 70% pullback. This has never happened in Shopify history. Look how many times Shopify has missed earnings, right? Like, they don't really miss earnings too much. Great company. Like, it's clear that they're a great company. Like, investors like the stock. So if we want to see this stock, the way I think of it is nice and easy. This was a huge pullback, got way oversold, went down to 17 or 18. Now, if it wants to get back to its median, right, just the median here, like its average, we'll use the fibs, right, just to see. So very top to the very bottom here. And this golden pocket range, 1600, is the zone where it could come back up to. Now, is it going to come back up like this week or next week or the week after? No, like it might need some time. Like, you need to let this chart develop and let the chart pattern develop so investors can like hop back in, find the opportunity from a good risk to reward perspective. But let's just point out major zones. Again, this golden pocket, I think it's definitely important. It happens to perfectly line up with previous resistance as well. And also support. So right around this zone, right? Resistance, support, and then we break below it. Huge zone, right matching up with the golden pocket. We'll get the fibs out of here. So it's clear that range is obviously something to pay attention to. It's also pretty obvious to pay attention to this zone right here. Major touches up in here. So right off the hop, I'm thinking we got to pay attention to these ranges on this stock, because I think especially right now, this $1,000 zone, 1,000 to 1,200, it's going to be acting as some sort of a magnet, right? There's a small gap left behind. So keep in mind that this gap here, right, we dropped down from 1,100 straight down to 1,000. So we dropped like $100 overnight. So there's a major gap in the chart. We're going to want to fill that at some point. So what I like to see, we're looking at the daily time frame. We've regathered the 8 EMA. Things are looking good here. Now, when we pull up the volume profile, people are starting to regather a bunch of their shares, and it's at this level. Huge, right? Especially when you look back at the past. So this is since August, so the past 6 months. This $879 range is major. So people are gathering shares at this level, which is good to see. Now 20 EMA, that's starting to catch up as well. The Ichimoku Cloud, I don't use these often, but we might potentially come up into this range where there's this Ichimoku Cloud and stall for a bit, right? Do something like this, create a weekly high or low, and then we go, right? When we look at this weekly time frame, when we look at this from the weekly time frame, we just go straight up, right? Huge bounce if we really think about it. 40% bounce off the lows. Now the weekly 8 EMA is showing us that we're rejecting here. So we need to eventually get up over the weekly 8 EMA. So that might take some time, right? We might need to see this happen. We get the push up, we mark the low, we create a new high over the past few weeks. We need that higher low somewhere in this range, and then we come back up to create a higher high. So the trend on the weekly is then completely flipped. That would be ideal to look for, right? That's the most basic things we could look into. And I'm thinking that if that plays out, it would then verify that we could come back up into this range. If not, and we do go bearish, then we want to obviously see this range act as our new demand zone, which I'm thinking is a good chance of that happening. We have two major double bottoms here. We have the bullish divergence to match. We break out of this major falling wedge pattern. So right now, it's looking like we've got this bull flag. Again, it's really similar to the square chart, but we've got this bull flag going on. If we could play in this range, that's healthy. The bear volume, we don't want to see it pick up and increase, but we'd like to see that slide off. And hopefully, which the bull flag is indicating, is that we're going to get some sort of continuation up out of this range. So hopefully we could stay sideways, we get that breakout, and then we retest, fill this gap, and retest this 1100 to 1200 zone. So that's what I'm looking at on Shop.